Good morning and welcome to Guerilla Sports Daily, brought to you by Trusted American Salary-Based Mortgages. Trusted American Salary-Based Mortgage Consultants want to help you get into a better rate and lower your monthly payments. Go to trustedamerican.com to see how much they can save you today.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning and welcome to Guerilla Sports Daily with me, your host, Boersma. It's been a while since I was here. The last week was January 1st. Obviously, we weren't working. We had no shows. Happy New Year. The week before was Christmas, and I was in the Netherlands visiting my family. So that was a great time. So the last time I was in this seat was December 18. That day, I talked to you about a new sports team coming to Denver, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it because it is official right now. We're going to have a new women's pro sports team, and I'll tell you all about it. But there's more news. The Nuggets played yesterday. They played the Celtics. Then the Avs are playing today and tomorrow. They're on the road again. The Broncos are still playing. Wow, incredible. And some more Denver sports or sports in Denver, but we'll get to that. Starting with the Denver Nuggets. Like I said, they played the reigning champions, the Boston Celtics, yesterday. And the Nuggets are fired up lately. They found their groove. They're playing really well. Nikola Jokic is unstoppable. Russell Westbrook is finding his way in this team and doing everything that Liv Moods has told us he was going to do. So that is awesome to see. If you want to become a champion, you have to beat everyone. So yesterday was a really good test to see how good the Nuggets really are. But then before the game, I know we'll get to that, Cedric. Let's start chronologically, because before the game, Michael Malone said this about our top player, Nikola Jokic.
He's questionable. Wasn't feeling great yesterday, and that has only gotten worse today, which is unfortunate. One, we have a game tonight, and two, it's his Christmas holiday. But we'll see how he feels. He's trying to, fight through it, and if he can't go, then we'll rely on somebody else.
Yeah, so no Nikola Jokic on his version of Christmas. I believe it's Serbian Christmas, sort of. I saw the Nuggets tweet about it too. Obviously, the Nuggets have a lot of Serbian fans. Really cool, but Nikola Jokic is sick. Really sad. So Dario Saric played in his place. In the starting lineup, in the starting five, Saric hasn't played a game since November 23rd when he played 4 minutes, and that's it. So it was an interesting choice, but the Nuggets played well. The first half, they were down 37-25, but then at halftime, they were back to 57-57. It was a tied game at halftime. So even without Jokic, the team was a team, and they played as a team, and they made it a difficult game for the Boston Celtics, which is impressive in and of itself. But then in the fourth quarter, the Celtics did manage to walk away, kind of. The end result was 118-106. If you just look at those stats, you would say, well, yeah, they're the Celtics. The Nuggets lost. It's a 12-point difference. That's a big gap. But if you had seen the game, you know that they were close all game and they played really well. Michael Malone talked about that too after the game, about how good the team was playing and how proud he is of his team.
We didn't score. I mean, it was a 15-0 run. So it's tied at 93. Give our guys a ton of credit, first and foremost. Down 15 in the first quarter, and with 8 minutes to go in the game, it's tied at 93. And the margin of error against that team without your starting four and your starting five is non-existent. And right after that, Porzingis got a tip dunk, loose ball. They come up with corner three. And obviously their defense ratcheted up, and we were unable to score on the other end. And that was that 12 or 15-0 run that they went on was obviously the deciding run of the game. But we gave ourselves a chance, and could not be more proud. There are no moral victories, but we did a lot of good things tonight. And but 25 points off turnovers and 22 on the glass is just way too many if you're going to give yourselves a chance against them.
Hey guys, I'm sorry it's me. I'm sorry I'm Jay and not Liv. Liv is doing the daily 1 day a week on Fridays. Today's Wednesday. Today's my day. But we're going to have Liv. Is she going to be on off field today, or is she still traveling? We're not sure. I don't think she's going to be on any show today. If you want to see Liv Moods, check her out tomorrow. Tomorrow? I got everything mixed up. But she'll be back. Don't worry about it. Right now, you got to do with me. I'm so sorry. Anyways, the Nuggets, Michael Malone says that he was proud of his team, and I can understand why. Playing this well against a really good Celtics team without your star player is an accomplishment, even if you're losing. Russell Westbrook took over that leadership role. He's doing incredible stuff here in Denver. He had 26 points yesterday, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and Jamal Murray, who I've been very critical of before, was his old self once again. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, but it was mostly the effort that I really liked to see with him. I do wonder, though, what it is with him where he can just go back and forth. In the NHL, with the Colorado Avalanche, you saw that with Alexander Georgiev, our previous goaltender, who was really good at some points and then really bad at other points. But Georgiev wasn't a top salary guy. He wasn't paid top money. Jamal Murray is, especially since this summer when he got a contract extension, a max contract. So I wonder what it is. Is it a self-esteem thing? Well, if you look at him, you wouldn't think that that could be a problem with him. Then again, there's a lot of stuff that people go through that no one will ever see or know. So I don't want to judge too hard. Then again, if you're getting paid that much, you gotta do something to make that worth it. He did that yesterday. He hasn't been doing that a lot recently. So I hope he's doing all right. I hope this is him picking it back up. Like I said, yesterday was a good game by Murray. He himself was a lot more critical about his own game.
Just be aggressive. Be aggressive. I was just trying to draw and kick tonight and just be aggressive. Miss some good looks. Like I have been missing some good looks. So, like I said, I'm just frustrated. But like I said, we gave ourselves a chance and didn't come out with it. So, just got to recoup, forget about it, and try to get the game tomorrow because it's an important one.
Yeah, a good game, like I said, but they still lost. Like I said in the beginning, you have to be able to beat everyone to become NBA champions, but you don't have to win every game. And that is important to remember too. We're not even halfway this season, and they're playing better and better and better. Losing against the Celtics right now is not the worst thing in the world, especially without Nikola Jokic. And thank you, Cedric, for your support of seeing me instead of Liv. I know I don't look as good as Liv, but I'm still fun. I'm still fun to hang out with. Anyway, let's move on to some football. The Denver Broncos, because we're still in. We're in the playoffs. Can you believe it? Can you believe the Broncos are in the playoffs? This is my first year really following and covering the Broncos, so I don't know what that heartbreak was. But I've definitely heard all the stories, and it's crazy. We posted this thing on our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter yesterday about the last time the Broncos reached the playoffs. That's when they won the Super Bowl in 2015. That was when the iPhone 6s came out and people were still waiting in line outside. Netflix still mailed out DVDs. Jon Snow was still dead. He hadn't been revived yet. Sorry for the spoiler. So it's been a long time, but they made it. Obviously, we already talked a lot about the game on Sunday against the Chiefs. Also not the major talking point after winning that game, because we weren't playing against the best players of the Chiefs. It was a 38-0 game. So we should be moving on to the Buffalo Bills. But I'm not going to do that. You should listen to the people on off-field. Nate Jackson and Brandon Cristal are going to talk about that later today. And then Nate Jackson is going to do an extra show with Jake Plummer later today. So that's going to be really cool. I do want to talk a little bit more about that Chiefs game. Because the Chiefs didn't play their best players. Patrick Mahomes wasn't in it. Travis Kelce wasn't in it. So I was wondering, is that match fixing? Is it? I know that sounds very heavy and a big thing to say. Don't take it too seriously, but think about it. The Bengals fans went off after the Chiefs lost the game. They tweeted out the 38-0 post. We have a few tweets here that I want to show you. Bengals fans were mad, and I kind of understand why. I don't know what Joe Burrow did to Andy Reid, but this is diabolical stuff. I like this one. It's, y'all should lose the first game of the playoff. Such a disgrace to the game. You should be fined and your fans should abandon you for fielding a team like you did today. Such a disgrace. And yes, that is a Joe Burrow profile picture, so don't take it too seriously. But that is the sentiment from the Bengals because they won on Saturday. They were on a 5-game win streak. They played really well the last few games. Obviously, that's too late in the season to start gearing up and start playing well. They didn't make it fair and square. But if that Broncos versus Chiefs game was a few days before or a few games before, the Chiefs might have just played all their best players, the Broncos might have lost, and the Bengals would be in right now. I asked Nate Jackson about this, former Bronco, coworker here, and he laughed at me. He was like, yeah, this happens every year. Of course, this is not match fixing. Like, this is part of the game. If you want to win, you just need to win yourself. But still, like, they kind of gave the Broncos this win. Anyways, doesn't matter. I'm not a hater. I'm very happy that the Broncos are in the playoffs, even if it's just because we can talk about it a lot more now and a lot longer. This is very fun, very exciting. I just thought it was interesting, and I do feel kind of bad for the Bengals fans. But then again, they should have played better the first not even that first half of the season, all the way up until almost the end. They should have played a lot better. But yeah. Let's move on to some hockey because we'll have a lot more Broncos later today. We're going to talk about the Avs here right now. They are on an absolute tear right now. They won 11 of their last 14 games, and we'll get to how in a minute. Spoiler alert, it's Mackenzie Blackwood. Let's first talk about tonight's opponent because they're on the road again, like I said. They're playing the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks are a bad team. They played the Winter Classic against the St. Louis Blues December 31st. That is not a big game or not a big opponent. They played in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Wow. 41,000 people were watching as the St. Louis Blues scored in the first 2 minutes. And they lost 6-2. The Chicago Blackhawks did. So there's a lot I want to say about the Winter Classic. Play good teams is one of the things I want to say, but let's not focus on that. This is good for you guys to know that the Blackhawks are a bad team. And the Avalanche have been really good on road trips lately. They won most of their road games since December. Spoiler alert, that's because of Mackenzie Blackwood. So there's going to be a game that needs to be won tonight. And tomorrow they're playing the Minnesota Wild, which is a lot more difficult of a game. The Minnesota Wild right now are one of the top teams in the league. So it's going to be an interesting road trip, but you got to start off well. And that is by winning tonight. So let's talk about their performance in the last few games a little bit more. The Avs, they had a very rough start of the season with a lot of injuries, but also with bad goaltending. And then I think it was some sunny day in November. Suddenly we get Mackenzie Blackwood from the San Jose Sharks. In turn, we gave them Alexander Georgiev. A lot of Avs fans were happy to see him go. And Mackenzie Blackwood has been incredible. He's the best goaltender in the league right now. Yesterday, he got the top of the pyramid that I'm looking at right now in off ice with Chloe Thiel, who's running a show right now, and Jesse Montano and Megan Angley, because he has been so important to this team. So it's going to be good to see how they're doing on this road trip with a bad team, a good team, and then a decent team after that. But the pyramid yesterday wasn't the only great thing happening to Mackenzie Blackwood, or great thing, a thing to remember, because 5 years ago yesterday, he got his signature look, which is the look without his two front teeth. And we have a video of what happened 5 years ago, and I want to show you that. Viewer discretion advised.
And he got all of that one. That Blackwood made a good, oh boy, look at, he got it right in the mask, and he's bleeding from the mouth. I'm sure there's some loose teeth there as well.
Kevin Morley attending to Mackenzie Blackwood. 27 seconds left in the period. He's going to put the mask back on. Leo Komarov behind the Devils' net. Drops a pass back. Bullock again. Save made by Blackwood. Comes here to Martin and a shot. Behind the net. Wraparound tries. Cizikas wouldn't go. Mackenzie Blackwood in the line of fire. Final second will tick away. That's all.
Oh boy, he's put on some display there.
Yeah, so that was 5 years ago. Our boss Blake randomly found this because he was curious what happened to him, and he found out that it was literally his anniversary. Weird thing to celebrate, but for us, it was a fun thing to look back to. So Jesse Montano went to practice at Family Sports, which is where the Avs are practicing. And he talked to Blackwood about how it happened, what happened, and how he looks at it now.
An anniversary today. It was 5 years ago today. Teeth. Watched the video last night. That was crazy. Were they just like dangling in your mouth when you made that save there at the end of the period?
Yeah, they kind of folded to the roof of my mouth. So, yeah, that was not fun, but thankfully that's in the past now.
What happened? Did the puck get underneath, or did it just?
No, like I have not a lot of padding there. I thinned it out a little bit. So I guess I tucked, and the way I wore it really tight at the time, like way tighter than now. So it was like touching my chin, so the mask bumped my teeth and just kind of bent them. So I've fixed it since then, but yeah, kind of learned from that one.
And so it was 27 seconds. Did you just stay in because there was so few time left? And what's going through your mind when you make that save there, that back post?
Not really anything. Like, it was a while ago now, but I just remember I was like, oh, I'll try and finish the game out. So
well, that was all I wanted to ask you about. It seemed like a crazy timing 5 years ago.
Yeah. No, that is funny. But, yeah, I got some new ones on the way. So, yeah.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
It is funny, but I got some new ones on the way. Well, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, he got his teeth knocked out and then played another 27 seconds through that period. That's just peak hockey. Crazy how tough these guys are. And it's definitely an interesting look. But like he said, he's going to get new teeth. I believe we heard that he already has them. He just needs to go to a dentist because they need to be screwed into his jaw. So maybe sometime soon we'll suddenly see a beautiful smile from Mackenzie Blackwood. Anyways, the Avs are playing the Blackhawks tonight with Blackwood in net, and then the Minnesota Wild tomorrow. Wild, like I said, is one of the tougher matchups in the league right now. Blackhawks should be one, but let's stick to more Denver sports, switching to women's sports, because I mentioned it before. Denver is getting an NWSL pro soccer women's team. I am very excited about this because I see how the sport of soccer is growing in this country. It has always been more of a women's sport, so I like that women's soccer also still has the place that it has in this country. Obviously, me coming from Europe, I love soccer. I watch a lot of men's soccer. I like the MLS, but I think the NWSL is just as important in this country. And the numbers show it, because this will be the most expensive women's sporting franchise in the history, because it was sold at $110 million. They're coming into the league at the same time as the Boston team that was called Boston Nation. There's a whole thing going on around there. with a rebrand even before the team is even launched. Both teams are going to start playing in 2026. The Denver NWSL team was sold for $110 million. The Boston team got sold for $53 million. That was just last year or a year and a half ago. So it's kind of crazy to see how big that difference is. It's more than double the amount that Denver had to pay than Boston. But it also it brings up the point of how much are sports really worth, but it's also a gamble on the future. People are expecting this to become a major franchise. The NWSL has been around since 2013. It has been the major women's soccer league since then. And $110 million is not small change. That is something that shows that people, investors, are serious about this sport and about this league. So those $110 million could become a lot more in 10 years, and then no one's going to bat an eye about the fact that another team paid $53 million for the exact same rights in a different city. It's going to be interesting to see where they're going to play, what name they're going to get. All of that is still uncertain. We don't know any of this yet. This news was broken on Friday, the fact that it was official. We haven't talked about it on the daily yet, so I wanted to bring it up because it is very exciting for Denver sports and for women's sports, which is very important too. A little more women's sports. I want to talk about the PWHL coming to Denver with the Takeover Tour. This Sunday, the Minnesota Frost are taking on the Montreal Victoire in Ball Arena. The tickets are expensive. There's only a few seats left. In the upper ring between $60 and $100, which shows that there's a lot of people want to go to this game. People want to see this league. This Takeover Tour is done so that the PWHL can see which other markets are excited about a new team, about an expansion. And they're doing it really well. They already played a game in Seattle last Sunday. That was the Victoire against the Toronto Scepters. To that game came 12,600 people. It's not sold out. That stadium can fit 18,000 people, but still a really big crowd and a record crowd for this season in the PWHL. The biggest cheers went up when they were asking if Seattle should be an expansion team or an expansion city for a team in the PWHL. So in Seattle, they are excited. They're going to Vancouver as well. Again, the Montreal Victoire are playing in that game. They're playing a lot of these Takeover Tour games. I don't know what that's about, but it's cool to see different markets getting excited about the game. Ball Arena fits 18,000 people for hockey games as well. So I'm curious to see how many of those seats are actually going to be filled. And this is the chance for Denver to show themselves as a possible city that the PWHL could expand into. So I would say, let's all go to that game. Let's support this game. Let's support the PWHL, and let's show them that we are worthy of yet another pro sports team. Because Denver really is turning into more and more of a pro sports city, and it's awesome to see. Guerilla Sports will be covering all of the game, and we will be following Colorado's Nicole Hensley, who is a goaltender for the Minnesota Frost, when she comes into Colorado on Saturday, then the game on Sunday for a really cool video. So definitely check that all out when it comes out on our YouTube and stuff. Yeah, Sunday is going to be a very exciting game. I'm still trying to get tickets because a lot of us are going to the game working. I'm not working. I do want to see it, so I'm still trying to get tickets. So if you have someone, text me. Moving on to the last thing I want to talk about today, college football, because there's a lot of things happening in college football right now. A lot of changes coming to college football in this next year. It already started with the extended playoffs, with 12 teams instead of 4. We've all talked about this on Guerilla Sports Daily before. But how has that not been a thing until now? How was it 4 teams? How can you choose 4 teams out of all those great programs and then just say that those are the best teams? I think 12 is a great start, and I think it should be expanded. But yeah, you can already see that people are more excited about this playoffs, I think the real winner will be crowned here. The real best team in this country will be crowned with the championships. I believe there's 4 teams right now left in the college football playoffs. I might be wrong here. I do know that Texas is playing Ohio State on Friday, and I believe Penn State is playing Oregon State tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just know that they're into the semifinals now, but I also believe that there's another game in New Orleans today at 4. No, at 2 Mountain Time because of the attacks in New Orleans earlier last week. I don't know exactly, but that's also not what I want to focus on too much. What I want to talk about is all the other stuff that is going to happen in college football in 2025, because the college football playoffs is just the tip of the iceberg. That changes how a champion is crowned, but there's way more things that will change college football forever. Starting with a small thing, roster limits have increased from 85 to 105 players with the introduction of partial scholarships so that the team has a lot more flexibility around who to select. But most of all, obviously, it's all about NIL money. Because starting 2025, schools can share revenue from their athletic departments with the players directly. Student athletes can earn up to 22% of that revenue, which can be up to $22 million at big schools. Per player, per football player in bigger programs, that could be $140,000 per year. For basketball players, that's even more, $218,000, because the teams are smaller. But that is a lot of money. And that amateur stamp will be gone forever. There is no amateur sports anymore. And it's a lot more than just the players getting the money that they do deserve to get. You already see players now jumping onto the transfer portal to go to different schools more than any time before. With money incentives, that will only grow. Because imagine being at a really good school that doesn't make as much money, and there's a decent school that makes a lot more money with NIL deals. You would want to go to that school because you can earn money. $140,000 for college athletes is a lot of money, especially for players and families that don't have a lot of money. That is life-changing money for 1 year of college football when you don't even know if you're going to make it to the pros. And young players are impressionable, especially if they come from places without money. I'm expecting top schools to become bigger and bigger, and smaller schools to start struggling more and more to get good players. That being said, this was inevitable. You can't expect millions of people to watch these players, have these players in video games, use them to sell out your stadiums, and not pay them a dime. They are doing the work, so they should be awarded for that. Athletes that missed out on NIL deals going back to 2016 can also still earn money from that pool of revenue sharing. So there's a lot of money going to these players right now, which is the right thing to do. But it has a lot of implications for the sport. And I think this sport, college football, will change forever. It will not be the same anymore. It is for the better, but it's going to be a different vibe than it has always been. And my guess is that in the next 10 years, some big athletic programs will be completely separated from schools. Athletes don't have to sit in class anymore if they don't want to. And students don't have to pay for their athletic programs just to go to school there, just to get an education, which is a wild thing to say, or a wild thing for me. But then again, I'm European. Maybe I'm just too European to understand. But why in the world would I be paying for someone else to fill out stadiums? I think they can hold up their own pants. That is all I wanted to talk about this week. There's going to be a lot of changes in 2025 with college football. And it's interesting to keep following that story because it's going to be big. But let's first focus on tonight. The Avs are playing the Blackhawks. I think it's at 7 p.m. So watch that game. Tomorrow, we will have Ruben back in the seat if he is not sick anymore. He's been sick all week. I feel very bad for him. If not, then it's going to be me and Jesse doing a joint daily from this desk tomorrow. So definitely check that out. And if you want to see Liv, definitely tune in on Friday at 10 a.m. because she will talk to you about all stuff on Guerilla Sports Daily, and then she'll have an off court, and then she'll have an off field. A lot of Liv. Right now, it's me. I'm so sorry you had to go through that, but I do still hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching.